to the show. We have John Gosselin, not to be confused with Ryan Gosling. He's way more handsome than that guy. John,
something like that.
Something like, no, definitely. This guy's the man. Seriously, he's been serving showroom supply store industry for nearly a decade now and having massive impact. He's been continually reinvited to several events and groups to help be the expert, help people increase sales and drive revenue. John, you are the owner of Earn More, Do Less and showroommarketing.com. Give us a quick second what that all encompasses. You do a little more than what we do as far as marketing goes.
Yeah, so I'm a co-founder of both, right? I have a business partner who runs kind of the back of the house, Austin Pike, and he's definitely wired in a different way than I am. Kind of likes to be in the dark room for 5 hours, playing on analytics and with all the digital doohickeys. And for me, I know that's important for a company, but it's just not what my wiring and my DNA has. So I'm more the front of the house and Austin's the back of the house. We got about 20 people at our company who serve all different purposes, right? All the different essential elements of running a business development team. And so about a decade ago, Austin and I partnered up. We had earnmoredoless.com, and that to this day is still kind of our holding company and our parent company. But like so many businesses in this industry, right? Call it wholesalers. Maybe they have a core name, and then they want to open up a decorative showroom. So they either keep it that way, they either partner with somebody like Kohler and open a store like that, or they just open up another division. So that company is powered by the wholesale name. And so about 6 years and 7 months ago, you helped me understand, Reed, right? That's what we decided to do with showroommarketing.com. But we have been working with showrooms. Our first showroom ever was by a dear friend of mine, Michael Batista, at Monique's Bath Showroom in Boston. I was speaking at a local event. Michael was in the crowd. We hit it off, and he was taking over the family business. His dad unfortunately passed away a couple months before that. He said, "Hey man, I want you to help me, get my ship together, right? But I'm not ready for you yet." And so since then, I guess we're in the yacht business because we've helped a lot of ships get their stuff together, if you would. And we have our Monopolize Your Marketplace game board, which is really all the spaces and places that matter most to earn more business and gain more market share, ultimately control more market share in the online ocean for where a brick and mortar business kind of puts their anchor in the water and says, "Hey, here we are, right? Come on in." And so we figured out a recipe for that, Reed. But thanks for having me on. I'm excited to have a great conversation. I know you have a kind of a masterful way about you and something of serious value to add to the industry and all the people you're working with as well. So this is a great format here.
Excellent. Great to have you on, John. And do you sell that Monopoly like game you created?
So it's basically the proprietary, we've kind of gamified our value add, right? So being a fan of business at large, right? You're only as good and you're only as different as the intellectual property that you bring to market. And so ironically, about 10 years ago now, or 9 years ago, Austin and I had said, "Hey, why don't we create this Monopoly board?" We were in New York City and we were kind of screwing around, and we created it for all the different areas on the internet that matter most, right? All the spaces and places. And so we've had in our company's museum, which we don't have and probably never will, right? We would have the original version of the game board. But what we did was we needed to show people in almost like a gradient fashion, right? The purples, the Baltic and the Mediterranean is not the same, and you go full circle on Monopoly, as Boardwalk and Park Place, right? And so there are many companies who feel like they're on a park bench, and they want to get to a park place. And so we created a gamified way to make that happen. And we implement on a vast majority of that, right? So like the railroads and the corner spaces are our proprietary stuff that we do, but the regular spaces on the board are essentially all the different places that matter for them, right? And you can certainly share a visual of that. No worries, not necessarily here. But what we do, and my son at the time, it was when he was 9 years old. Zach's going to be 16 coming up in a couple weeks from now, actually 3 weeks. But he said, Dad, why don't you put the company that you're talking to's logo in the middle of the Game Boy? And I'm like, buddy, that is gold, man. And so since then, we've mailed off through direct mail and digital files thousands of game boards. We have different game boards for different niche markets. The showroom space, we have a kitchen and bath game board. We have game boards for people who are in different buying groups, different associations, because they don't want to market other people's affiliations with industries if we're there representing them at a trade show or exhibiting at their show. So we've gotten pretty savvy with it, and we've been able to change it up, right? Kind of like in a non-violent way, right? A Swiss Army knife approach. Hey, let's make the review space be for what reviews are in this industry. Let's make the buying groups and the associations be for this. Let's, if there's various social medias sites that are more relevant for this industry, let's put those in center stage. And Christine on our team, last thing I'll say on that is she came on board about a year ago, and Christine said, what is this big fish in the online ocean stuff anyways? And so she was the Little Mermaid like 20 years ago when she was in college, and she came downstairs and showed me her mermaid outfit. And she's like, it's time for the mermaid to take center stage on the game board. And so there she went, and she now shows up at trade shows for our company in the mermaid suit, and she's become the mermaid with the mostest. And a lot of people have fun with it, but at the end of the day, there's a serious message there, which is how to push back against the bullies in a company's schoolyard, right? Online wise, that is for the most part. And every industry has that, right? The big buying superpower, and they're all trying to figure out how to control more market share and push back against them. And so we've had a fun, playful way of doing that and showing people and helping a lot of companies do that these days.
Excellent. And from your raving fans, you're definitely doing a great job. So thank you on behalf of all showroom owners in the world. You rock.
Still serve, but we're doing all right.
Yeah, we'll make sure to include a link to so you can find more information about that Monopoly board there, because it really does. It's a really nice way to wrap your brain around what you need to be focusing on in order to grow your business and adapt it to the business landscape that is today. I remember one thing we talked about last week we spoke was there's a lot of owners that want to sell their business and kind of want to retire. It's getting that age, and we see a lot of people who want to do that, but they haven't quite adapted the business yet to today's landscape of doing business. So the amount that they'll be able to get for the business is much, much lower. Let's talk about that for a little bit. I don't know, you had some really great ideas about what they need to do in order to adapt.
Yeah. So, I mean, you have an investment background, right? I don't want to overlook that, because that is part of the reason why it came up. Right. And so, albeit in real estate and other things, right, we all want to be able to make 1 + 1 equal more than 2, right? There's nothing linear in the business landscape except a mediocre mindset. Right? And so in an effort to compound the return on investment and geometrically expand all the stuff that all of us know in business, right? Entrepreneurs and senior leaders and C-level executives, right? Nothing's worse than coming up short with all the hard work you've put in, all the effort you've put in, all the things you've done for years over years to get that return. And so I think a lot of businesses, especially in wholesale plumbing and decorative plumbing and lighting and design build showrooms, right? There's so much talent out there. There's so much sweat equity that all these companies put in. But at the end of the day, the people who are looking to do the buyouts, and whether you're looking to get bought out or not, I think it's important to understand what matters most for that recipe, right? What is it that makes a company attractive? And portions of the P&L that stand out, right? The 20% of the things that are going to get you 80% of the value add aren't always known, right? The Pareto principle is tried, tested, and proven. But when it's all said and done, I have heard firsthand, right, whether you're getting bought out by an industry player or looking to get acquired, right? So many people are just waiting for that phone call, right? It's like they're going all the way back to when they were 22 and they met the Mr. or Mrs. Perfect somebody for them. And like, please call me, I'm waiting, you know, and they're waiting for that.
We've been there. We've all been there.
And so, you know, to make that magic happen in business, it's really simple. Have your distribution down, right? Have your offline affiliations, all your account-based acquisitions tight, right? Have all of your line of credits cleaned up so you don't have, you know, accounts receivable being way upside down from where it should be. And then also have a domination plan for the internet, right? Because that is the fifth dimension. The internet's the best salesperson you could ever have at your company. It works 24/7. There's technologies you can have that the human element can't keep up with. It's impossible, you know? And so you got to know what those tools of technology are. You have to have a game plan for controlling as much market share in the zip codes that matter most, whether you sell the most stuff there, whether it's residential or commercial places, zip codes usually, right? Because that's how the internet works, counties or zip codes that have the highest transaction values. And if you don't have that plan, you're probably going to get overlooked. And that's what we help companies do at the consulting level is we know exactly how people search for wholesale stuff, B2B, as well as for B2C, right? The direct-to-consumer stuff. And then, of course, not everybody has e-commerce, but that's okay because there's a large portion of people in this country that want to do business with the local solution, right?
Seriously.
I literally just heard about an hour ago a phone call that we were tracked because we track every phone call. We can literally, we intercept it. We know what the keyword was or the page that this call came from on a website. And this call was it went out to a showroom in the Midwest. I won't get too specific, but the woman was on the phone. She said, hey, are you the company that owns the biggest website in the country? Again, no shameless plugs. And the guy was like, no, we're not them. She's like, oh, I was looking for appliances and I bought my appliances in my other home there. But did you say you do decorative plumbing and hardware? And the owner said, yeah, we do. She's like, oh, this could be such a happy accident. So what happened was we had an ad for that competitor that the woman competitor thought she was calling the big bully in the schoolyard that's everywhere. They'll remain nameless. But he ended up getting a woman who called that needed 3 bathrooms outfitted, right? 2 full bathrooms and a half bath. And so that's a dimension of winning with the internet that isn't always a surefire way to win, right? But we usually allocate and earmark a portion of a company's advertising spend on Google, on Bing, on social media for some of their competitors. And so I know you and I kind of go toe to toe, but not really. You know, there's enough market share around. It's all about creating value for your offerings. But that is something that is definitely important because there are people who are dead set searching for exactly what they want to find. And if you can pattern interrupt those people, either through a text ad or through a retargeting, right, with like a banner image, that can bring you some return on investment. And so there's literally like an hour ago, that was a tried, tested, and proven way to help a showroom that isn't even a client of ours. They're actually part of a co-op program that we're running with an industry association. We have about 70 showrooms that our company's personally investing $20 a month. So it's like $1,500 a month that we're investing. None of these people are our clients yet, but we wanted to show them and have them try us before they buy anything from us. So they're coming into this, anybody who wants to work with us, with profit. They're investing with profit, which is a strategy I strongly suggest. If you can invest in web infrastructure, business development initiatives with profit as opposed to capitalization, Reed, how much less of a headache that is how you've removed most of the risk, if not all of it, if you're coming in the profits, you know? So a little long-winded there, but that's kind of what to do if you're looking for that next level. And if, you know, you're a hair younger than me, right? You mentioned the Ryan Gosling thing. So there is a guy named John Gosling with Johnny 8+8. So that showed the date difference and age difference in you and I, right? So if a lot of next generation owners and people who are assuming the ownership and managerial ranks at companies are, you know, I think you're right around 30-ish or so, right? And
yeah,
45
a couple months.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, that next generation, they might be the one assuming the ownership and getting the keys handed over to them, if not fully, at least a portion of the managerial decision making. They have to understand what's going on, because there are decades upon decades of dominance that these big pocketed entities have, that this next generation is just going to get steamrolled if they don't know how to be disciplined, how to use data to turn insights into income. That is really the game right now.
Yeah, insights into income. And the problem is that it's just such a big, wide ocean, as you like to use, the internet. There's like it's hard to pick where to begin. When it comes to showroom supply store marketing and getting that down, position yourself online as a trusted authority, a great place for people to come. You know, what would you say is the most important things into that?
So you know, the biggest thing is visibility, right? Visibility is a term that a lot of the associations that have the most members in the industry, they love it, right? I have an article coming out in a couple of weeks for a big association that's out there, and the value of your visibility was a catchphrase that I put into it, because it's true. But not only the visibility and the findability, you have to know how to become conversion friendly, right? So you have to have elements on your web infrastructure, right? Trust marks is a generic kind of a hub term, right? It's got an umbrella, and within trust marks, the associations you're a part of as a showroom or a wholesaler, awards that you've won, things you've done for charity. Do you introduce your team, right? One of the things we do for clients is we put heat mapping on every website. So we see over 1.5 million website visitors a month, and we see where their mouse moves, where their cursor clicks, right? Aside from some of the crazy stuff we're all hearing about with, you know, the big tech and how they can persuade people through elections, and I'm not going there. But the point is that should have been an aha moment for businesses to say, hey, if this technology is out there, why are we not leveraging it to the things that we need that are going to make a difference to better our bottom line, right? So videos, right? One-to-one videos or one-to-many videos. A lot of folks have 360 showroom tours or business tours on there, right? Do you showcase the projects of how your products are being used, right? Brands want to be involved. Are you leveraging co-op dollars, right? The brands just want to see their name. And so I guess the umbrella term would be, are you becoming bitter from not having all of the exposure that you want? Are you actually getting better, right? That's a key fundamental operating principle for a business these days. But I think that one of the biggest things is we're so programmed to be about PR, right? Public relations. And so when you create content, social media stuff, and blogs and videos and press releases and coupons, and you see your name, like, oh, there I am. There's a piece of published content with my name on it, right? And that doesn't really do anything for you. So you have to know, going back to our board, which spaces and places matter most, but you also have to know the 20% of the things that are going to get you 80% of the results. And that is a massively big unknown, because if you're a web designer that doesn't look at Google Analytics, what are you designing on? Pulling stuff out of thin air and kind of guesstimates. If you're a marketing firm that doesn't show where phone calls are coming from, or tracking orders back into Google Analytics, right? Google Analytics is not the best technology to use per se, but how do you not want to leverage Google's information in all of your fact finding every month when you're looking over? I mean, you have to have it in the mix, but there are other technologies to add on top of that make it really foolproof and make decisions be more disciplined. But that's a couple things that matter most, is align with what's working now and be best practice so you can get world-class results. That's very important.
Turn those insights into income. That's, you said it earlier, it's just golden. I love what you said. It's really important to find that 20% that makes 80% of the difference. And you could definitely gotten really good at it with your business, but you even extend that a little further to give a more detailed nuts and bolts to really provide as many resources as possible to ensure people's success. Is that right?
Yeah, I would just really want to educate people on the fact that a lot of staff that is able to be brought in and hired at your company, they don't necessarily, the likelihood of them having all of the answers is really, really slim, right? So we do a lot of work with directors of marketing who stay in their lane, right? They don't try to geek out with data, right? I'm cool with that. I used to try to, being a jock in a previous part of my life, and I played college baseball. Being a geek isn't cool. Being a geek is way cool.
It's so, cool now. It's
I'm
really
totally
cool
fine
now.
with it, right? And so, right. If you're not for a while,
yeah, we were living under a rock. You caveman or something. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just yeah, and so it's just there's nothing cooler than understanding how to leverage technology, how to take small piles of data, right? Because big data was a thing at one time, but big data is just it's a confusing mechanism that you'll never get to the bottom of, because not to keep harping on it, but the 20% of the data sets get you 80% of the results, but you got to know what they are. You have to set up ways to get that data, accrue it, right? To do attribution and measure it and track it, and then course correct with it, because that's where the magic moments occur, right? Take the heat mapping insights to fix a website design, because you see where people are engaging with stuff. Visibility, findability is key, but again, conversion friendliness. So the work is never truly done. It's just an ongoing assessment. And so the feedback loop is vital, because there's a lot of companies in this industry that have historical in-store experience, but they don't know how to merge that brick and mortar experience with the click and mortar data that's necessary to thrive today. So there's way too many people trying to survive and so few that are truly thriving. That's definitely a trend that's emerged.
Yeah, I have my assistant do a lot of research for me to discover, hey, what showrooms and supply stores out there can we possibly help the most? And she identifies just, I want to say probably 50 to 60% of the companies that either they're just not given the focus that they need to be exposed to the market. Like we're looking on, I'm always the first thing I always look is Google Map Pack. You know, when you search for showroom supply stores near me, who shows the top of the list? You know, I went through Grant Cardone sales training a few years ago, and say what you will about him, but he did his research when it comes to sales statistics, and he found that people trust the internet more than their friends and family. Like they'll believe that internet before anyone else. And the first thing a lot of people do nowadays, especially local businesses, we look up, okay, XYZ near me, and we look at the stars, look how many reviews, you know, whoever ranks the first, as often the first one I go to. Like I need to change my catalytic converter, you know, guess where I'm going? Going down the street. That looks like the best.
I have to agree. It's definitely, you know, and the other thing is Google is creating more and more first page assets that they own, so they can get more advertisers money showing on the first page. So they're just creating more market share for their own pocketbook, which really pushes down. It doesn't really, it actually pushes people. The first page of Google for a non-paid listing isn't seen until like the 20th spot now. You know, and it's like,
Yeah.
Just,
So
you
with
have
that, you're going to find Lowe's and Home Depot, those big box stores. They're going to rank at the top of the written searches. But thankfully, Google has thrown us local showroom supply store owners a bone by giving us Google Map Pack, which enables us to actually
Yep.
compete with the bigger stores and chains. You know, by
Yeah.
easily ranking in the top first 3 located spots. Which, if you're
Yeah.
not, good luck, because very, very, very few people are going to click further than that. You know, you want to be ideally the top
I agree.
spot, and there's several ways you can do that. So, let's try to wrap it up here. Quick.
Yeah. Well, one other thing that's nice about that, to read to your point, is they also give you some type of analytics report on how your Google Map Pack. That's, you know, it's a term that's relatively new to me, but that's they give you an update on how that page is doing. And good luck trying to outrank that with your own website, because it's probably not going to happen. So it's a good thing that you're able to help folks with that.
Yeah.
How do you optimize that? Just a question from me to you, so you can get some info out there too. You know,
so some great way to optimize that, because we've identified that to be one of the most important 20% that. And one best way to do that is initially, the easiest way is just to run Google Ads. It doesn't have to be very much, and what's great is that so few people do. With just a few bucks, you will beat anyone else that's not adding anything, because so people do it. It'll automatically increase your rankings in the listing on the Google results when people search on their phone or on online. And oftentimes you'll find people that have worse reviews and stars ranking number 1 because they did that one simple thing, because they're paying Google. So there's that.
Shocker, isn't that right? Isn't that funny how it works?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, but they have.
Well, that's actually, that's something that Google added in not too long ago. I don't know exactly when, but all of a sudden Maps started to get a sponsored location. They identified another area. And the other thing is, those particular maps that do get sponsored through ads, they get an expanded, they call them call outs, right? They get more text showing than the others who aren't paying in the pay to play game. And just coming in for a landing, like you said, one thing I would say on pay to play stuff, right? So many SEO firms out there and folks that try to get you there for free. What they'll tell you is, why would you pay for it if you can get it for free? And I don't boo-hoo that, right? There is value there, but more importantly, if your paid efforts are showing a predictable return on investment that is favorable, why would you ever stop doing that, right?
Seriously.
Because everything's going pay to play, all the way down to my son's little league freaking baseball team, right? You pay to play in the A game.
Oh man.
And pay to play in soccer, you pay to play in dance club, right? It's not going away. And it's not greed. It's just the way to be world class. And so you have to figure out how to measure the return on that pay to play investment, and then do more things that are getting that cost per lead down and getting more viewers for that. So you're essentially getting more clicks at a discount, right? That's kind of how we say it, but you have to be able to show the data sets that illustrate that here's what's happening. You don't have to necessarily buy more, but I would never pull the plug on that once you prove it to be profitable, because you're just going to lose more market share to someone who's going to move into your space. So that's kind of that in a nutshell. But no, I think what you're doing, Reed, is really great. You're onto something. Certainly appreciate having a few minutes to talk marketing, and I'll probably be seeing you sooner or later at some offline events. And there's only so many cool kids tables we can hang out at, right? And that's what it's all, is finding that out. And I think what you're doing to help local businesses really dominate their landscape is valuable. It's something that absolutely is the premium and is the number one thing that matters most. So keep on keeping on, man. I certainly appreciate you offering me up the opportunity to come on and share some tried, tested, and proven profitable strategies with everybody. That's what it's all about.
Thank you, John. You rock. Thanks for coming on the show. Everyone else listening, feel free to reach out. You can reach out to John through what's the best way to reach you?
Just go to showroommarketing.com. We have a bunch of videos, bunch of case studies. We do different things, and we'll probably be collaborating, Reed, with you and the stuff you're doing.
All right, John, how do people get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can just go to showroommarketing.com, take a look around at everything we have there. We have some helpful videos. We have kind of a resource library, kind of white papers, some case study stuff. We have a look at the game board we talked about earlier. And then, just kind of take the conversation scope wherever they'd like, because I can tell you this, after talking to literally tens of thousands of design and build businesses, most of them showrooms and service-based businesses that also have access to all the fixtures and whatnot. No two businesses operate in the same fashion in this industry, which kind of makes it cool in a lot of ways, but also makes it really hard to scale, which I know that's kind of a techie hipster thing. You got to find out a coverall. Well, I haven't found out a way to do that 100% yet, and I've been at this thing for a long time. But it really is about customized. It's custom solutions. That's the beauty of this business. That's the beauty for a showroom or showroom staff to get more answers. There is really no cookie cutter thing you can bring at somebody. It truly has to be custom, which is a wonderful thing.
Absolutely, John. Thank you again for coming on. People reach out to him. He's an amazing resource. We will look forward to speak with you next and see you at some event there, John. You have a great rest of your day.
For sure. Talk to you soon. Thanks.